So, good morning, everyone, and once again, welcome back to another episode on learning different things from different people right here. As someone rightly said, transformation happens when you move from ideas to action in a deliberate way. But for transforming anything in our life or in our personal or in our professional journey, we need a pathway, we need a blueprint as to how we are going to take it forward. Many different individuals, different organizations, different people will have different ways of doing things or taking things forward. And today we are just going to explore one of the way as to how you can use a tool, a self-coaching tool, which I call it a self-coaching tool on your personal and your profession for your professional growth. I don't know how many of you have heard this tool called the Grow model, which you can use in your personal and your professional front. So
I,
if I ask, people out here who have joined us, any idea as to what is Grow coaching model or what is Grow model to use as a powerful transformation tool?
yeah, I can vouch for it. I've been coaching with this Grow model. It's one of my favorite models. That's why I joined early in this session because I
Thank you,
really
sir, for that.
love this model,
Thank
and
you.
it is an excellent way to shift a person from one way of being to another way of being, and by the way of inquiry.
Yes,
And
sir.
yeah, so it starts with goal. It talks about the reality of the persons is going through, and it talks about the options moving forward and then way forward. So basically, let's say if a person is feeling very low about a certain situation, or there is a conflict within themselves, then you can ask yourself, what exactly is the goal, what exactly is the reality. So normally when you challenge those beliefs and things, you move forward. Although I don't want to kill the suspense, uh, but I just you know impulsively wanted to just share a few things. So yeah, the Grow model is one of the favorite models of mine. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So, why did I choose this tool or why did I take this as a topic for today? Is many a times self transformation or any transformation, it can be individual or it can be with an organization. Any transformation starts with understanding your about yourself and the people around you or in your organization. It comes with understanding and acceptance because no transformation starts from out of the blue. It starts with understanding, with self awareness or awareness as it is. So this is one of that models which even transformed my life in many ways. Before we go forward, this is just a food for thought for all of you who's listening with me right now and who's going to watch this video a little later. First of all, what is coaching? When we say coaching is nothing but we are bringing a person from point A to point B, as one of you rightly said right here, as to you're bringing a person from a confused, unclear state to clarity state, but by asking the right powerful questions. Coaching is one. This is my understanding of what is coaching is that asking the right questions which will drive the client to think as to where did I go wrong, what can be done better. Maybe what works for me does not work for everyone else out here. For different people different thing works, but we need to find out as to what works. But when it comes to setting goals or when it comes to setting up anything for yourself or for your ecology or for your people around you or in the environment you are in. Many of us don't know what we want to do with our lives on a day to day basis. We don't know. Maybe we are choosing a goal just because we see someone else doing, thinking that that is for us. Many a time we don't set a goal for ourselves which we want to achieve. That is the first thing we all need to start realizing, that are we able to identify and clarify our goal which we have set to ourselves, or where we want to reach with that goal. And when we set goals, I'm going to give you two statements as an example here. Let's take the common example of weight loss. I'm going to give two statements. Whoever is listening to me right now, or whoever is going to listen to this later, comment down below as to which statement related to you, or which statement which will urge you to work. I want to lose weight versus I want to lose 5 kgs in next 2 months. Which is the statement you're prone to work towards, and why? Think about it. We'll come back to this discussion at the end of the uh, once we discuss this coaching as a tool, this grow coaching as a tool. When we say smart goals, we have different definitions, we use different terminologies, we use different phrases or words to explain or to elaborate smart goals. But when we say goals or smart goals, it has to be according to me or according to you, who is deciding that goal or where you want to reach. I hope everyone will agree with me on this. Many a times, according to whom we are setting that goal. Is it for ourselves or is it for someone else we are setting that goal? This is just it can be very thought-provoking topic, or it can be a thought-provoking session for many of them who's listening out here. But if you have any questions, come back with the questions, or I'll take up the questions at the very end, so that I can give you a better clarity. I can take you, we can create a blueprint for your goal. As I'm talking, think about something you want to achieve in next a week or next in a month or two, what you want to achieve. If you have a pen and paper, take that pen and paper and start jotting down as to what is your goal for a next, for a week or for next 1 or 2 months. Coming back, so first is your goal, which stands for your G, and second is your reality. When I say reality, we need to assess, we need to understand as to where do we stand in our current situation, or in our current lifestyle, where do we stand? Does our lifestyle or does our habits or does our behavior help us to reach where we want to reach? Many a times we block ourselves to our own dreams or what we want to achieve in our near future, isn't it? Many a times does this happens, we don't know, we don't understand what is our situation right now, and we start thinking, okay, what we need to do next. Sometimes what got us till here might not be it will be not the same blueprint which we might have to use going forward. We might have to change our strategy at times, but not our goal. And next, one added thing all of you can do here is, first we need to start understanding ourselves, understanding who I am internally and externally. To understand yourself, one of the tools which you can use is your SWOT analysis. That is another tool which you can use. And once you've understood, once you've analyzed where you stand and where you want to go, then it's easier to, create that pathway, create that blueprint, or create whatever you call life, or whatever you call that big picture, whatever you name it to, because different people will have different names to it. Once we have understood that, then we come to the next step, which is the options. What are the different possible ways to achieve where we want to get? If a plan A doesn't work, okay, what is the alternative plan? Or what are the possible roadblocks? and we need to consider different perspectives or different ideas where we might have to sit with like-minded people to come up with something which can be more better. When we do it by ourselves, we are just confined to our own thoughts, or we are just confined to our own ideas. But when we are in a group, when we are around with a lot of people in an environment where you get better ideas. But for anything and everything, you need to have that open frame of mind to accept new ideas and different perspectives from different people. I might have an idea. The people who's listening to me right now, the people who's going to listen this to this later also will have different ideas. But that is not it. We can think that that might be the best, but we never know. When we start talking to different people, when we start interacting, socializing with people, you get to know more. And what is our action plan going forward? That is a way forward. How many of you know to drive a car or drive a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler? Can I have some answers out here? Anyone?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Two-wheeler or four-wheeler?
Four-wheeler.
Okay, four-wheeler. Initially, what did we do to start what did we do to start learning driving? We went and registered ourselves in a
Yes.
driving school.
Yeah.
Yes, we figured out different options as to which is the best school, what are their process, what are their methods, because that environment or that place has to give you that positive learning experience to for you to get your license in a smooth manner,
Yes.
isn't it? Many a times our environment affects to the extent as to where we can reach to our own goals. But again, what kind of story we are gonna say behind those goals? Is it a positive or if it's a negative one? We need to decide, and that is what is gonna help us reach where we want to reach. Any questions before I go any further with the storytelling right here? Do any one of you have any questions, or shall I continue?
Yeah. Please continue. I think.
Sorry, there's one thing that I just wanted to add to what you've been sharing.
Sure, sir.
So this comes from my experience since last, say, about 9 years in my coaching. Now, what happens the moment you get the person to the reality, or probably, even if I talk about myself doing the self coaching, uh, even that is even more difficult sometimes. That the reality um, is not something which comes up on the surface like a sponge. Really, you have to really be present to a lot of things. And when you say that you ask powerful questions, so when you are in a state of conflict, whenever I'm, let's say, if I'm in a state of conflict, in that conflict, so the quality of questions that I'm asking myself is not going to be great. But at the same time, if I'm coaching someone, you can, because I'm outside of the situation, I can ask the powerful questions, right? So my 2 cents here is, one way is to start writing it down when you do the self part. Second thing I really want to ask you, I mean, how to handle that situation where you are uh, in your own inner conflict and you cannot ask powerful questions to get to the reality of your situation.
Thank you for bringing up that question right here, right now. And as rightly sir had pointed out, see, I think in one of the session where I took the session, where I was talking, I'm not sure what topic it was. Have you heard of this snowball effect?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Okay. What happens? See, when a snowball tumbles from a mountain, when you catch hold of it in the beginning, you can control its speed. You can do whatever is required. But once that snowball takes its speed and its pace of rolling down, find it has to end in a crash. Once it has taken its speed, you cannot do anything. You will have to allow it to pass. Similarly, with your inner conflict, I'm going to tell you a couple of ways as to how you can deal with your inner conflict. Try it out. If you feel certain things is not working, come back. We'll connect on a personal front and discuss as to what can be done differently to reach in a better outcome. First, see, when it comes to inner conflict, you and how you can use this particular model to coach yourself or to coach someone else. I know many of us are very good in giving other person the ideas as to what can be done, but when it comes to self coaching, we all still find somewhere difficulty in reaching the outcome. When does an inner conflict start? There's some situation which has happened in the past which has led you to that inner conflict, because in that particular situation there was a trigger to that particular inner conflict which was going on. There must have something which has happened in that particular environment which has led to that inner conflict. One, you sit and observe as a third person as to what is that conflict about. You don't have to go talk to someone, but sit and observe with yourself. When you feel that conflict has come to a, to its neutral state, or once you feel that it has settled down, then you take a pen and paper and start writing. It can be about the conflict, or it can be about how you felt. Anything, whatever comes to your mind, that particular moment, sit and write. Because when that snowball has taken its pace, you cannot control it there. You'll have to allow that thing to settle. Similarly, if I have to give a different example, when a water is boiling, will you be able to see that water clearly inside? No, you cannot.
No.
When the water is boiling, you cannot see it clearly inside. You will have to allow it to cool and take its own time to come back to that room temperature. Why do, say for example, you're having a cup of tea or coffee, whatever you prefer, on a winter morning. The tea or coffee will become very cold if you're not consuming it then and there. So you need to give it time and space for it to settle there. And later, after a couple of hours or next day, once you're don't go discuss any inner conflict issue with anyone when you're on an emotional high. No coaching, no tool will work then. But later, once you have settled down internally and externally, or when your environment has settled down, then you go have that conversation. First, have that conversation with yourself. Okay, what triggered that conflict, inner conflict? Because nothing will come out of the blue. That must have been a trigger somewhere. First, see if you're able to identify that trigger, so it's easier to work. A different methodology to work with this is that when we say conflict, let it be inner or whatever conflict it is. If I have to tell you to draw a picture of your conflict, how will you put it in a piece of paper? If you are able to, if you ask a kid, he or she will put out something on the paper. Let it be conflict, let it be fear, or let it be any emotion. They will put something into picture, because visuals is very easy to work with any client. It can be to yourself or it can be with someone else. This is one methodology where you can start writing and finding out what is the trigger. And okay, if it's not, and then the next question or next thing you can ask yourself is, in any way, is this conflict gonna help me get anywhere, or is this conflict, what are the different things which can be done to avoid the same inner conflict next time? or what can be done in that present situation to bring that conflict into a to a neutral statement or a positive statement. Any situation can be taken in different ways. That's what we call it reframing. In many people use many different phrases or words to this, but you can reframe it. Say, for example, can someone give me an example for inner conflict? If no one has any examples,
Yeah,
I'm gonna.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
yeah. I have right now. I can share that there is an inner conflict. There is an old friend,
Mm.
a very old friend. I'm very fond of that friend actually,
Mm.
and
Mm.
somehow there was some misunderstanding between us, and we stopped talking to each other.
Mm.
A few days back,
Mm.
I literally was craving for that friend, and I just called him,
Okay.
and with a very heavy heart, I shared that I really miss you a lot, and
Mm.
I really don't want that cold war to continue. So
Mm.
I really want to meet you once for a long period of time, and then whatever you decide, you decide. Whatever we
Mm.
decide, I mean, we'll see later. But let's meet
Mm.
once. And then
Mm.
my friend kept asking me, why do you want me? But then if he saw my intent and he said, okay, Vinay, I understand what you're going through. Um, but let's meet up and resolve whatever it is, and we will see if we want to maintain our friendship or not. Then immediately after that, I got a call. So the very next day, I got a call from him, and he said, Vinay, I found you too impulsive. I found you too impulsive. You've been calling me. You've been disturbing me. And I was wondering, what happened in just one day? Something is so disturbing for him, and that is giving me an inner conflict. What did I do? I didn't do anything. I just called him for his well because I came to know from someone that he's not well. And I called him about 5 or 6 times, and even called his son. And he started complaining about the fact that why are you calling my son? Why are you so on and so forth? So that is since then, I've been dealing with inner conflict. That what did I do? I'm not being able to understand what is happening. I mean, kya hua kya? Matlab, something we were going forward. We wanted to talk. We wanted to meet, and then we will talk and make it forward. But then he refused to meet once again. So that is an inner conflict that I'm currently dealing with. That what happens, what has happened what did I do wrong? That is something which is topic.
Okay. So taking this particular example right here, first thing we need to ask ourselves, or we need to understand, in the past, as something else, any fight or any conflict as it happened, that first we need to understand.
Hmm.
Yes,
Yes.
first we need to understand,
Yes.
maybe not in the near past, or it might be maybe 1 year before or 6 months before. Some
Yeah.
fight must have got you to this position where the other person is, doesn't wants to speak, or doesn't wants to meet you, or doesn't wants
Correct.
to be interactive.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
First, we
Yes.
need to
Yes.
understand this as to, is there any situation? Maybe there must have nothing happened, but we need to understand, is there something which has triggered this for that the other party who's listening? That, see, we cannot control other person's response, but we can control how we respond to those particular situation. Maybe you might not have been impulsive or something, but it's a kind of you care for the other person. That's why you tried calling and to check on him,
Yes.
right?
Exactly.
If you
Exactly.
have not done anything wrong, you don't have to feel that inner conflict. Maybe your mind, or see, sometimes our mind plays tricks on us, no doubt. Maybe it's your mind playing tricks on you just because, maybe fear of losing that friend a good friend of
Yes,
yours.
yes,
Maybe, we
yes.
never know. It might be that fear of losing someone or fear of losing a friendship which we must have had for so many years. And suddenly losing that kind of a person is very difficult to accept. That is one way of understanding. Okay, is there
Yes.
anything which has happened in the past? If your answer is no, then it is, maybe it's their situation which is causing them to take emotional, take decisions using their emotions. Maybe they are preoccupied with something else in their situation which we don't know. As someone said, we should never judge a book by its cover. So similarly, we don't know what is that other person going through. Maybe we need to give that person the time and the space to, maybe settle themselves down emotionally first. Does that answer your question, sir?
Yeah. So, but again, okay, I don't want to waste other person's time, but there's just one thing that is coming up for me is, if everything is settled, then there is no conflict. So the point of the fact is, there is a huge conflict still going on, and as you said, I'm still feeling overwhelmed. Uh,
Don't worry, we'll
I
connect
think
on a
let's,
personal front and
yeah,
discuss
we'll
this
connect with the person. Yeah, let's see.
further there. I hope you have my connect or my number wherever.
Yeah, we will talk. We will talk.
Yes,
Yeah, definitely.
sure.
Talk. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyways, yeah.
So, see, basically, to concise to what I was saying, when we say grow as a coaching model, it can be for self, it can be for others, or it can be for your organization. But keep in mind certain things, which is the goal has to be set by you, not by anyone else. That is where your major of your issue starts. When we start trying to achieve someone else goal, thinking that I will be able to do it. If anyone is facing such difficulties, I am here, or you can approach any one of us who's into the similar coaching or fraternity as such. There are certain ways to identify or see if that goal is for you. One way is start writing down your whys, why you want to achieve that particular goal. Then have a reality check. Does your environment or does your ecology allow you to do so? If yes, then what are the options? How are we gonna, create a pathway? What are the daily action items? What are the weekly checklists? What is the monthly checklist? And we need to sit and talk to people, take up different ideas, see what works. And please keep in mind, don't change your goals like seasons, because each goal, each thing, whatever you want to achieve is an another ocean of opportunities by itself. Because this can sound very cliche as it sounds, but this is what it is. But we need to have that clarity. That clarity comes from being in the present. How can you be in the present? By practicing some kind of breathing practice, breathing practices basically, or it can be guided, or it can be reading something which will pull you into the present moment. The best practice is gratitude. Just write 3 or 5 things what you're grateful for at that moment. It can be the chair where you're sitting, or it can be the room, or it can be the air conditioning, or whatever. It can be the smallest of the thing. Gratitude is the best activity which will bring you into the present moment. When you go to the past, you get stressed. When you go to the future, you get anxious. But how many of us are in the right here, right now situation? And again, I started with a quote. I'm gonna end the. I want to to conclude the session with a quote which says, to transform and elevate, you may be required to go do it alone. You will have people and things from you, removed from you, so that you can search within and find your power. Trust that during this period, you're being directed towards peace, healing, and growth. Basically, we need to start sitting with ourselves, because that silence, that whatever you call it, will guide your intuition, will guide you where you need to go. So first, start sitting with yourself. Maybe one thing which has helped me is carry a notebook wherever you go, in your handbag, or it can be a pocket notebook or whatever it is. Start writing things down. If writing is not working, start having kind of a conversation with people. It can help. This is just a small gist of it which I wanted to give you. And whoever is attending this, whoever is listening to this later, this is a small gift giveaway or kind of a thing. Whoever wants to create a pathway or create a blueprint for your goal, you can book a set, not book, you can book a slot with me. I'll help you to create that pathway for you. So that is a small giveaway which I'm giving out to all our community members right here, whoever is watching this later and whoever is live with us right now. So if you have any further questions, please do go ask me. If not, we can call this a session as such. Or if you want to share your experiences, please go ahead and share it right here.
Awesome, Darshini. You also mentioned about the story in between. So can you also elaborate on that?
Yes. So it is a story, nothing but it was my own transformation, which I wanted to give you as a short story here. Is that okay. When I, as a child, when I grew up, where rather when I started my career, the first thing the ecology or people or the environment asked me was, you are the quiet kid. How are you gonna sit in? How are you gonna start taking training sessions for people? It can be for college students, or I started with college students basically. So this is a question which came to me asking that, how are you gonna talk? How are you gonna take the session for this many hours? Sometimes there are times where I have to take the session in my mother tongue language. So people used to come and ask me. Here there are two things. One, I could have sat thinking that, oh my God, how am I gonna talk? I could have sat there doing nothing. Instead, I started taking my training sessions, and today people ask as to how effortlessly you are doing whatever you are doing. What can you understand from this short story is that sometimes it is the self-talk or the words which you use to yourself, not the words you hear, but the words, the kind of self-talk you have it with yourself changes the whole scenario or the whole trajectory of your life altogether. Because I could have believed what the people outside told me, maybe my life would have gone to a mess, which may for many of you must have happened in different situations in different intensities. Don't focus on the intensity, focus on the consistency as to what you do. That will get you results. Because initially when as an individual, as a trainer or a coach, today I'm telling, initially when I started doing my Instagram live, initially there were no audience in my life when I started it off. And slowly and consistently when I started doing my live, slowly that number of audience started to increase. And that's where I got my first coaching client. it hardly takes 5 seconds to create that first impression in people's mind. People might forget what you talk, what you say, what you speak, but no one will forget how you made them feel. And that positive impact, or that positivity, which, and that was my motto, and that is what brought me to this career, that it's not only about making money, but it has to positively impact a person's life in a very positive way. And seeing that life transform itself is more than a paycheck. So start observing your self talk and start changing that language, the way you talk. The easiest way to change your emotions, change your physicality, change your body posture. Why do people say that, you know, when you feel low, when you feel off with something, turn your body on? Why? Because your energy shifts, your mind shifts, you get, your attention shifts to something else. So more than anything else, till date, I believed in myself more than the people around me. And that brought me to where I am today, or doing whatever I am doing. People who seeing this, people who is hearing this can vouch for this for myself, or I can vouch this for myself to what I'm saying. It's not, I'm not boasting here, but this is what it is. I am that one individual who was even gone for speech therapy. And today she's a trainer by herself. We never know, because there are times where I used to play with microphones as a kid, but I didn't know it will shape my future as a career, where today going, giving talks, giving trainings in a big auditoriums and things like that. We never know. But it's the choices which we make today or right here, right now, which will change our future. That is a small story which I wanted to convey to all of you right here. Thank you for listening to this short story here.
It's very inspiring. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, my story is a different thing altogether. We'll have it in another session altogether. Yeah.
Awesome.
Any questions? Anyone?
Okay.
Yes.
Dashni, your story relates to mine.
Okay.
Because when I first became a motivational speaker, I used to be very, very shy. I used to be very, very not used to be having this atria and all of that. But now I have overcome it. I only get this atria when I only get panic attacks when someone I love is hurt. Like today my caregiver was not is not feeling well. So yesterday we did all the preparations for the 5th of October and everything. So yeah, you have to have the right people with the right vibes and the right support. For me, I have my parents, my siblings, my caregiver, Marianne, and my mom's helper, Macmillan, to actually understood me. But Melin is new, so it took me a lot of time to understand the person. So uh, how I how I how I relieve my stress is through laughter, and laughter is the best medicine. And hopefully I can be someone like you, and ev- everything can be overcome.
I want to be the voice for the voiceless, whoever it is.
Yes.
And we need to start standing up for ourselves and for the other people who are not able to do that.
No, even my hypnotherapist Ajit Ludwig has said that uh, there will be someone your primary caregiver who is motherly. There will be someone who is not motherly. You have to stand up for yourself and for your primary caregiver. And I am praying that um, she gets well soon so that I can continue my work as it is. I'm continuing my work for today. For today only, she's resting. But when someone is sick in the family, you love the person so much, you get affected by it,
Happens.
even if it's not your problem. And not only that, I haven't seen my friends and family for very long. If 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 I'm angry about, if the problem is, if I'm angry about something, um parents should be empathetic and should make the other person understood that it's not her fault to be like this. Whatever the situation is, you're a counselor, you're a coach, and we are coaches ourselves. And the only thing is, I'm trying to control myself through hypnotherapy. And I would like to say that I'm a shining star, I'm a shining star and a brilliant lamp. And thou art, I'm powerful, and no one can take that power away from me.
Exactly.
E-
Exactly.
Even
You're your
even
best coach, you're your best critic.
yeah, even when I went for physiotherapy, I told my caregiver's niece, because there were assistants to help me. So obviously, she's not used. So I told her to go out for a reason, because some therapists, they see a new person, they they are used to my old they're used to my primary caregiver. So you can't blame me for being used to the primary caregiver, because I'm very, very I'm not to say attached, because we come alone and we go alone. So the only gift we have is to laugh, love, and leave behind a legacy. Even if you even if you are new, you have to be kind and compassionate. So
Yes.
you for listening. Thank you for listening. I hope that makes sense. And
Yes, yes,
yes.
definitely does. Thank you so much for sharing.
So actually, when I actually saw this session, when I actually saw this session that you were presenting, I was thinking that I am actually not in actualization state, but
It's okay, it will come.
I'm in higher consciousness because of hypnosis, laughter. Uh, So when see um, Dr. Madan Kataria said that laugh double and your worries will vanish like a bubble. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shabana.
Thank you, Rajvan. Adi, Neelamji, do you want to share? Okay. No. Anyone else? Deepak, Bharti? Vinay. So I think everyone is introspecting all that we have learned.
We'll come back for a discussion on that.
Yes, awesome. But it was really wonderful. Like, thank you for making us aware. Many new things opened up, and we should apply it. I think there should be homework that we should apply the model and come back to you in the
I think
next.
it starts with introspection. I think that
Yes.
is where the basis starts. It
Mhm.
takes time. It's okay to take time, but we need to start introspecting.
Yes. Yeah.
So feel free to connect with me later also if you have any questions. I'm here available.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.